Do you think that a sense of entitlement had anything to do with why you felt so hurt?
Maybe a little, yeah, considering the generation that I grew up in, like, men are like, "You're supposed to get this and that and this and that." So I think a good percentage of that definitely is entitlement, 1,000%. Like, they're women, I'm men. They should give me this. They give all these other guys this, they should also give me this. So that true. But I think another part of the anger or the pain comes from, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't they like me? Why can't they love me? What's so wrong with me that they don't call me handsome or they don't want to hang out with me? What's so wrong with me that they don't even want to remotely try and get physical with me? What did I do that makes it so wrong for them to want to do that to me? So that kind of led to that whole mindset as well too.
It was this feeling of lack within yourself that you then turned outward into anger at women.
Yeah.
There's something coming over me. I never ever felt so free. I'm flying out the energy. Yeah, I'm feeling kind of crazy. Everything's so amazing. Yeah, I jump so high. I hit the sky. I can't believe I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Never thought I could be so big, but it's so good. Yeah.
I'm Sammy Amounts. This is Happy Slut. Welcome back, Pinecones. The guest I have for you this week is another anonymous one, and I'm really excited for you to hear this conversation because it gets very nuanced and goes into some areas that are very uncomfortable and full of tension and super, super relevant to what we're all dealing with in today's landscape of sex, love, and dating. My guest, Alex, is a cisgender, straight black man in his mid-40s who lives in a major city. He works in an artistic field, so his income is unstable. And he's always been a person who was deeply feeling, empathetic, sensitive, and tender, and deeply wanted connection. But because of the way our world treats young boys who are deeply feeling and empathetic and sensitive, he ended up building up a wall of machismo assholery around himself, and he spent the bulk of his adult life primarily having sex with sex workers because he just has not been able to make his relationships with women go anywhere. And I'll let him tell you all about that in our conversation, but I'm telling you right now, that this conversation is full of the kind of candid, vulnerable admissions of tenderness and sensitivity that if we could encourage more men to be brave enough to make, we could have a better world. So it's going to be good. Before we get into the interview, I gotta say it. Please stop what you're doing and leave a review for the show. Your reviews help new listeners find the show. They are very, very important for making sure the show keeps growing. So if you haven't already, stop what you're doing, leave a 5-star review and a little blurb about what you like about the show on whatever platform you're listening on. Also, you can share an episode with a friend. If this episode strikes chords with you, share it with somebody. I guarantee you know half a dozen people or more who need to listen to this right now. All right. Without further ado, here is my guest this week, Alex. Alex, welcome to Happy Slut.
Thank you so much for having me, my dear. How are you?
I am very well. I'm so glad that we're connecting today. We were just chatting while getting ready to start recording, and you were telling me about how your life was going in a direction that was a little bit scary and uncomfortable, a lot of it scary and uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And in the last 6 months or so, you've really turned a lot of things around, and that's super
absolutely.
exciting. But go ahead and bring us into where we just finished before we started recording. What's the one area of your life that you're like, this isn't working the way I want it to?
That would be my relationship with women and trying to find a partner and actually experience love from a partner for the first time in my life.
All right. Oh,
Yeah.
something a lot of people want. So let's learn
Yeah.
little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What's your age range? What's your sexuality?
Well, I'm a, cis black male, which I think is, viewed better than a cis white male. Originally from the East Coast. I'm in my mid-40s. Proud of my age because, again, being black, I'm aging gracefully, thankfully, for the genes, mom, dad. I try to maintain and keep the youthful, zeal for life that I've always had in that childlike mind to a certain degree. I think that keeps you young and that keeps you, happy to a certain extent. It keeps you focused on things and wanting to embrace life in a positive way as it comes. So I try to lean more into that. I'm not without my problems. Obviously, I deal with like mental health issues as most other people do. I try to embrace that and also through telling my story and things that I've gone through, hopefully help people open up to share more about what they're going on. Because I think the more we keep it in, the worse the problem gets. And that leads to more and more people doing things with their life, ending their life, different things like that. So I'm a big mental health advocate because, I battle it every day. But to this day, I'm undefeated in my bad days, and we could say that because I'm still here. So, hopefully I can keep the undefeated streak going. And, I love everything to do with art, whether it's going to a museum or, plays, movies. Movies have been like a safe haven since I was a kid. I've been going by myself since like before I could drive, 13, 14. And it's still like my go-to happy place, if you will. It resets me when I'm like in a place of darkness. It kind of is my big resetter. I love sporting events. I love everything to do with. I love karaoke. I love to sing. I'm just an artiste. So that's kind of who I am. And I'm and in being an artist, I'm very much a feeling individual. I'm very empathetic. I can cry, I can get emotional, I can get vulnerable, being my age and my parents being baby boomers, growing up in the 80s and 90s. That really wasn't what was popular back then because, with my parents, from the South, grew up in Jim Crow South in like the 50s, it's not I mean, nurturing is a part of it, but like it's about survival. So it's about, for the man especially, being tough and, the emotion thing is not something that is a focus, and like it's all that programming that men of the 80s and 90s had, which I think is the reason why men are who they are today. I feel like to a certain degree we only have ourselves to blame for that because we've failed my generation of boys, we failed, I feel. So I'm one of those kids who was failed, but I've been trying to show that even though that happened, you still can come out of it and still be a good person.
When you say you were failed as a kid, like you're talking about the intersection of patriarchy and racism, and
Yeah.
in particular, the racism in this country, which is, I think, uniquely insidious because
Hmm.
we have been pretending since the Emancipation
Yeah.
Proclamation that racism
Yeah.
is over and it's never ended.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a 1-2 punch for Black men
Yeah.
from our generation that is
Yeah.
really difficult to overcome. What were your personal experiences as a kid? Like, if you can highlight 1 or 2 core memories that really illustrate this, that have stuck in your brain and have continued to shape you and how you see the world, what would those be?
Growing up in school, I went to Catholic school. My mom wanted me to have a really good education, and yeah, my dad just went along with what she wanted to do. So I went to Catholic school up until like I graduated high school. And when I was in middle school, I remember on 2 different occasions, 2 different young white boys dropping the N word. I didn't know completely what it meant, but in hindsight, since I have perspective now, being that we were like 11 years old and they already know what that word means and they're already using it towards black kids, just tells me all I need to know about how hatred is taught. It's not, something that you're born with. And in the black culture, it's just like, especially for black men, when it comes to mental health, it's just the machismo and like the dick measuring contest is just, it holds no bounds. And it's just like, you can't say I love you. You can't cry. You can't show emotion. You can't sit next to your male friend. You need to have a 1 seat buffer. You can't do any of these things. You have to be tough. You have to be the provider. The heart thing, you got to shut that off. You got to focus on being the provider and surviving, because again, the mindset of the baby boomers, especially, Southern Black baby boomers growing up in segregation, is like nurturing is great, but it's about survival. And I think that mindset, not only with the Black culture, but with like all cultures in general, for boys growing up when I grew up, you made us into, well, not me specifically because I grew out of it, but like you made those boys into men that are just cold, unfeeling monsters, you know?
Well, that's interesting that you said you grew out of it, but was there a time when you feel that was the kind of man you had been molded into? And did you then have
Absolutely.
to? Okay, so tell me about that. Let's get into it. Alex, why did you want to come on Happy Slut?
I wanted to come on Happy Slut because I wanted to share with people how hard it can be for some people to actually be able to date and meet people that they're interested in on a regular basis. I feel like some people who have a good amount of experience have like their first love and have like a lot of dating experience and, relationships and stuff. I think they lose sight of how hard it can be for some people to even just go up and approach a person that they're interested in without having a straight on anxiety attack or like a panic attack. And I think that's something that we need to like highlight, and how it's hard, especially with the pressures of men having to approach women. And that's like how we're supposed to do it. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to do. And some people just aren't good at it. And some people haven't been fortunate enough to have had that first love or to have had that long-term relationship. And it's not fun. And it's just something that is just hard to explain to people. And I wish that people who were on the other side of it kind of knew more about how hard how what's easier to them is harder for people over here, and how these people over here can be jaded and feel like, well, being a good person or being a person who can provide the love and what the partner would need is just not enough. Socioeconomical, financial, different things also come into play, like who you are and what you provide just as a person, as a partner, is not enough. And I think that's a shame.
How many relationships have you had?
I've only had one relationship officially, a whopping 3.5 months.
When was that 3.5 month long relationship?
I want to say it was summer of 2010.
And no other relationships but that 3.5 month one.
No other relationships. I dated someone for a year, but we were never like official. There wasn't like a title or anything, but you can kind of consider that. But we just never like actually linked up like that. Feelings were starting to percolate, but we never like pulled the trigger on actually being like official. But as far as like an actual official relationship where it's like boyfriend, girlfriend, those, archetypes, just one. That one in 2010.
But you have been sexually active this entire time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am a fan of sex.
And in order to be sexually active, you've frequented sex workers. You've called on sex workers.
I have.
All right. And would you say that's been like the primary way that you've had intimacy and sex in your adult life?
Absolutely. That really ties into what I'm talking about as far as how hard it can be for some people on the other side of the tracks. As far as like, this side is like I date all the time and I've had a whole bunch of relationships, and this side is like I struggle with all of that. Like on my side of the tracks, it can get so hard to where you literally forget the sex. You just want like connection, or someone to tell you that you're handsome or you're pretty, or someone to get, to feel up on you. I mean, just that alone, just feeling that. And then the sex is extra. But yeah, I mean, there are points when I was younger, like in my early 20s to mid 20s, because I didn't lose my virginity until I was 22. That was luck that happened. But like, for the longest time, I feel like I think I'm going to die a virgin. I don't know. I don't know when a woman is going to not view me as a friend and view me as like something romantic to actually get to that point. I don't know when or where this is ever even going to possibly happen. So as a result, I was just like, I need to do something, because I need to know what it's like to feel like a person who is like attracted and wanted.
It sounds like you're saying that for most of your life, you've felt less than human because you haven't had an easy time with intimate relationships the way you see other people. And these sex worker relationships have been the thing that allows you to feel like you're fully human and participating.
100%. 100%.
Wow. Okay, there's so much to unpack here, but I want to talk about some of for all of my straight and bi men listening and my gay and bi women listening. Everybody who has sex with women and wants to do better, I've got a product for you. Have you heard of Kenneth Play? He is an Adonis of a man, and he has put together a video course teaching others how to please women the way only he knows how. I have personally had the pleasure of spending an intimate evening with Kenneth. I don't think I've ever had a first-time sexual encounter with somebody that was just 100% pleasurable. There was never a moment of pain. There was never a moment of meh. He knew my body better than I knew my body. He found pleasure spots in me that I did not know I had, and he made me come many times. I have gifted his web course, Beyond Satisfied Pro, to lovers of mine, and in every case, they have become better lovers as a result. And now I would like to gift this to you with a 15% discount. Go to kennethplay.com/closeted. That link gets you 15% off Kenneth's Beyond Satisfied Pro course. This is just for my listeners. Trust me. No one regrets being great in bed, and this course will get you there. kennethplay.com/closeted. Her early relationship, like your early experiences with women, where did this... Let me preface this by saying the guy that I made my sexual debut with looked a lot like you, except like a foot shorter.
Mm-hmm.
like truly. In our conversations in the past, I know that you've had an idea that the way you look has something to do with how hard this has been for you. But like literally the first guy I ever had sex with fucked constantly, dated constantly, was super popular with women. And he physically looked a lot like you, except way shorter. He was like 5'6". And you would think that would be like a demerit in his appeal.
Yeah,
But
for
it
sure.
wasn't. I mean, the girl he dated before me was this hot little blonde with a tight little ass. And then he dated me. And like the next chick was this tall, gorgeous statue. Like he would just clean up all the time. He was a funny guy. And he knew how to treat a woman. Well, I mean, as much as any fucking 18-year-old knows how to treat a woman. But like at the time, he got me. So when you talk about like looks being an issue, for me, it's like there's a disconnect because I know that there are guys who look a lot like you who are cleaning up. So I feel like there must have been some early experiences that put it in your head that this is just not a thing that you have access to. Is that right? Are there?
I would say so. Yeah. Yeah, when I was 13, 14, started getting interested in girls. I started to feel the feelings, I started to feel the feelings down below and, puberty, all that stuff. And there were girls in my school that I, had crushes on. And then just from the get-go, I was like, she's not going to be interested in me. I just phrased that from the beginning, because I tend to date outside my race. The statuesque Caucasian female of the 90s, like the Party of Five, like singled out, was like my ideal female. So a lot of the girls I was interested in school definitely were of different races. And so not only am I battling that, I was overweight. I was really socially awkward. So I had a lot of things working against me. So even though a part of me was like, this could probably work. Like, let's say that's like 3%. The other 97% were like, yeah, this is not going to work. I shouldn't do this. But I did it anyways.
What do you mean you did it? What did you do anyways?
Through a little stationery, I slipped in her desk, or I told her that I liked her. I got a little advice.
You shot your shot.
I shot my shot.
Thinking she's never going to be interested in me, but you tried.
Yeah, I tried.
You were brave.
I was brave. It did backfire. Well, thank you. Oh. It did backfire, though, because I didn't have the... Okay, so growing up, because I was bullied for being overweight and socially awkward, I disassociated and I kind of retreated inward to like my house and my room. And I grew up and I had TV and VCR and cable in my room, so I really didn't have to leave for anything. So that was kind of like my world right there. So I really didn't know how to interact or talk with humans, truly. It put me behind the curve to where like physically I'm growing up, but like mentally and psychologically, I'm way trailing behind and trying to catch up to how I'm growing physically. So I didn't know how to deal with people. Like I just stopped interacting. Like I just had that break, that emotional trauma that of course, was heightened when you're interested in girls. And, you think that in order to get a girl, you must pursue her. And by pursue her, you need to contact her all the time, not knowing that if you did that, you'll be viewed as a stalker. Even though your intentions were pure, you were still viewed as a stalker because you think, okay, the smart thing to do is just constantly apply pressure. That's the exact opposite of what you should do. But I didn't know that because I didn't know how to deal with humans.
Well, there's
so
also
as
so much messaging for boys and men in
yeah,
you were watching a lot of movies. You were watching a lot of
yeah,
TV shows. All of those
absolutely.
movies and TV shows in the fucking 90s were like, if you just wear a woman down enough, she'll eventually have sex with you. Like, that was the message. Like, camp out outside her
Absolutely.
window. Keep sending her gifts and letters. Like, never,
Yeah,
ever give up. And eventually she'll be your
yeah,
girlfriend was
yeah,
every
yeah, yeah.
fucking rom-com of the 90s. So,
That was me.
yeah, well, you can't blame yourself for believing what's been force-fed to you your whole life.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then on top of that, I made it even worse by like moving on from her and doing the same thing with other women I thought were cute. I'm like, okay, the door's open. Let's just go talk to all the girls I think is cute and apply the same logic. And it just, woo,
How did it
backfired. So
backfire? What happened?
I was just labeled as a stalker in my school. No one, of course, knew the depths of the issues that I was dealing with as far as like, disassociation and, separating myself from essentially the human race. Nobody knew all that. So they didn't know that what is looked at as a pervy, weird thing, which from a distance does look that way. If you actually break it down and look deeper into it, it's coming from a place of lack of knowledge, lack of human contact.
What kind of messages and methods of contact were you employing? You were like 13, 14, right? Like, were they just cute little notes or?
It started with a note and then calling all the time and then maybe kind of like observing from a distance, like, Cyrano de Bergerac, at school and stuff like that. The sad kid in the corner looking up to the woman that he wants. And yeah, when you're 13 and you don't know that this kid has dealt with a lot of issues, you're a stalker and that's what you are. So that was that. And that was an awesome introduction to women and pursuing. So that kind of fucked everything up going forward. And then the transition to high school, I went to all boys high school. So there were girls around to like, learn and try things with. I don't want to say experiment, that sounds horrible, but like learn and try
Wow.
with. And because the bullying and, being made fun of continued, I just doubled down on like retreating in my house into my own personal space. My friends were my family. I just hung out with them more than anybody else. And I started to slowly get some friends in high school, but they weren't like truly like, your ride or die friends. I really didn't get true friends till I got to college, until I was well into my late teens, early 20s. It's been, going downhill since. I think that's probably where it all started as far as like, I don't know what to do as far as how to approach a female, what to say, how to not come off as, because since then I'm so afraid to approach. I don't want, the last thing I want is to sound like a stalker. The last thing I want is to sound like a weirdo because that scarred me so badly. And at some points where I'm thinking I'm doing something innocent as an adult, years and years later, it still has come off as that. Some like, like some woman I would work with and I would make a comment which I thought was innocent and they would, let the manager know and then they would talk to me and I'm like, I didn't, and it's just like,
What would the comment be?
it wasn't gross. It was like, man, you look really beautiful in that, or you look really good, or something like that. And they would take offense to that, which understandable. But again, for me, it was coming from not the place of the typical guy. It was coming from the place of a guy who was trying to give a compliment, like a genuine compliment. But it wasn't taken as such. And again, a lot of women get that shit all the time. So I totally understand if you like take it that way immediately. Like it's just, so, but for me, I just didn't understand why me trying to say something genuine was taken so wrongly. But again, you can't judge how people take things.
Yeah, you don't know what they've been through.
Exactly.
And it's a workplace.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, so you made your sexual debut at 22. Who was that with?
Mhm.
How did that go?
So a friend of a friend knew a girl who I guess was looking for a guy to hang out with, hook up with. It was in college. So,
She wanted to bang.
yeah, she did. And I go to her place and she has porn on the TV. I'm like, I know where this is going. I couldn't believe it in the moment. But then it happened in the moment. It just like, it was a blur.
Wait. So your friends are like, hey, we know this chick who really just wants to bang. We're going to set you up. Like and then the first time you met her was going to her place. Is that true?
It wasn't like so open as to like, she wants to do this. I was being set up with someone. I thought I was like, okay, they're setting me with a girl.
It was framed as a blind date.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah. Like a blind, like meetup.
But the meetup is at her place?
Yeah. I was so stupid. Like, it just goes right over my head. I didn't see the signs at all. That lasts to this day. Like, I'm so hard-headed. Like, you guys just have like a siren.
You got it when you walked in and porn was on the TV.
Yeah, literally. And then we were talking. I'm like, oh, this is okay. And then it went from there and it was cool. And I was like, wow, it feels awesome not be a virgin anymore.
Give us the juicy details, Alex.
Yeah. It was funny. It was a black girl, which is hilarious.
Why is that hilarious?
Well, I mean, because I don't date black women, so it's not hilarious.
Why don't you date black women? Have you ever dated a black woman?
I've gone on dates. Nothing against, they're beautiful. I was born from a black woman, but it's just like, I just have a preference. I don't know what it is. I just know what I like. And I know that it's not like a popular thing, but I try to just be true to myself and, the things that I like. But I mean, black women are beautiful. And she was beautiful. She was a thick girl. I like me some thick girls. And it was fun. Obviously used protection. First time I ever actually had to apply one. So that was a landmark moment.
Wow.
Apply a condom. I was like, okay, cool. That worked. It lasted longer than I thought it would.
How long is longer than you thought it would?
I thought it was going to be like a matter of seconds, but it turned out to be like, 2-3 minutes, maybe something like that.
You mean once you like penetrated with your
penis? Yeah. Once I was in.
Did you spend some time, I hope, fooling around before that?
I did.
Good man.
Yeah, we both spent time, and I was like, I understood the power and how it's important to, take care of each other.
You go down on her?
I did.
Good.
It was fun. You kind of have to learn in the moment on how to do that properly and be able to breathe properly and what to do. It's a whole thing.
Had you ever eaten a pussy before that?
I never have. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was your first time for a lot of things.
It was.
And it was good.
Yeah, it was good. And that's when I found out, like when you look at your own, as a dude, when you look at your own dick, you're like, I think it looks big. But you don't really know until like you're with a woman and they start giving you, comment and you start, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one who thinks that. Cool.
What did she say?
Well, the noises that she was making was telling me what I needed to know,
All right. So you found out in this first experience that you were well endowed, that you could make a woman make pleased sounds in bed, that you could last a little bit longer than you thought you could. What comes after that? Did you keep seeing her?
She actually called me later, unprovoked, like down the road to do it again. So that was cool. And then that opened the door to like my sexual awakening, if you will. I was just like, I just want to do this all the time now. But then I quickly realized, oh, I'm not skilled enough to try and get with women to do this all the time.
Skilled enough socially, you mean?
Socially to like, be able to talk to women and like kind of, as the kids say, spit game or whatever,
So like, were you trying to talk to women in bars or like in class and just getting rejected? Like, how was it going?
I would mostly try and talk to women on that level at parties, college parties, frat parties, or bars. It was never really successful. I was kind of just shooting off the hip. And at that point, I was a little more bold than I am now as far as approaching a woman. And I was more open and available to talk and was able to talk with them more then. It was like not as much pressure. A lot of it was alcohol fueled because I used to drink then. So that definitely helped get the edges off. 99% of the time, I wasn't successful. I realized quickly that I don't know what to say or do to be able to get with women. And then again, I was still big. So that also hurt me as well, too. So just dried up there. And then I quickly realized, like, I don't think I'm ever going to have sex ever again. And so that's when I started to, deal with sex workers. And so from there, I was able to get my fix through that.
How much time between first time having sex and first time with a sex worker?
A couple months, probably. A couple months.
Oh, so you were like, I've had my taste of sex. I want more of this for sure. Yep. I'm going to try really hard. It's not going well. 2 months later, you're like hiring somebody.
Yep.
Tell me about the first time.
It was either a website or legitimately, some of them I found in a phone book. That's how old this was. But the majority of the time, it was a website. So I went on a website and tried to find something close to where I went to school. And I found a website and I found a girl I was interested in. So I called the number on the website and I talked to her boss. She told me where to go. It was like a hotel, like literally 3 blocks down the street. So I went there and she was in lingerie.
What'd she look like?
I want to say she was a white, slender, dark brunette. And I think she wore like black, like lingerie. And then she made me comfortable. I got naked, got in the bed. She started to massage. And then she went, down to, yep. And then, started to do that. And then we
I'm
went to it.
sorry. This show is called Happy Slut. You just chicken out of saying she went down on me.
Okay, you pulled my man card. I got to show up. Okay, so then she went down on me, right? And then she went to, and I was like, I saw like, I mean, the girl that I lost my virginity with did it, so I kind of saw, but the lights were off, so I couldn't really see anything. But in this one, the lights were still on, so I could see her. I'm like, oh, that's how it looks when a woman is sucking your dick. Okay, cool. And yeah, after that, she climbed on top, and we went to it, and we finished.
You finished.
Yeah.
Did she finish?
I don't know if she did. She made noises, but I don't know if she did. And after that, I felt weird for like a second. But then after that second, I was like, I love this. I need more of this.
What was that second of weirdness? What do you mean when you say weird?
Societal pressures, like society would look at this and feel like this is weird, or that I am a horrible person for resorting to this.
So when you say weird, you mean you felt a moment of shame.
Shame. Yes. Like Belle, Sister Nun from Game of Thrones, shame. And the shame dissipated because I was like, wait a minute. They might feel this way, but it makes me feel good. I didn't like kind of wrap my head around those feelings, but that's like kind of what I was feeling. Like I felt a weird, icky feeling, but that icky feeling was dominated and taken over by the feeling of happiness that I felt getting with a female, So any feelings of shame that I would always have and that would make me feel icky, they were overtaken by the feelings of like, we could say happiness that I felt. And it kind of just went on from there. And I think the majority of the sex I had from that point on was with sex workers, definitely in college, at least. I mean, it wasn't until after college where I started to actually hook up with women out in the world through dating websites and stuff. And I was in my early 20s. I was a dick. I was a dude. I was full on machismo and, like doing this and just saying what I needed to say to get laid and like, lying about certain things and like making it a one night stand and not calling people back. And I was exhibiting a lot of those like asshole traits at that point in my life.
What were you saying? Like, what were the things that you had to say to get laid? What were you lying about? Why do you think you've described yourself as this empathetic, deeply feeling young boy? Why do you think you were putting on this machismo show? So those are 3 questions. What were you saying to get laid?
Yeah.
What were you lying about? And why were you putting on this show?
So question number 1, I was like alluding to we should hang out and hey, you should come over because I'm, I got a great place and, I mean, if you want to spend the night, I got an extra bed. I make cheesy jokes like, if you want to spend the night, I got, you can sleep on my bed. I'll sleep on the couch. It's okay. So I would say stupid shit like that, like just alluding to her just coming over for sex. And then she'd be like, I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking for this. I'm like, I am too. I just, we're humans. We're very sexual creatures. And, sex is very important if you want to get into a relationship and we should see what we like and what we don't like. Like, what do you like? And I started trying to do that and started making it about, I didn't make every conversation I would turn into like a sex conversation.
So like 10 years earlier, you're this 13-year-old who's very earnestly and with good intentions trying to talk to girls. And now you're like in your early 20s and you've become the douchebag that they labeled you as back then.
Yeah, that I labeled a lot of guys as back then, like I thought those guys were like, why are these girls going with these blatant assholes? Like,
let me become like them because then I'll get laid.
Yeah, I was like, let me become like them. Maybe I can get a fucking girlfriend if I become like them. Let me do that. But it's two
So you
pronged
so
because
you did want a girlfriend, but you're telling
I
these
did.
girls that you're not, that you just said that you were like lying about wanting to be in a relationship.
And there's a reason why I did a lot of research. I did a lot of deep thought on this, and honestly, it was coming from a place of hurt. I was like the poster child for hurt people will hurt people, because I feel like I was hurt by women. I took a disrespect, a hurt from me not getting any type of love or attention or friend zone feelings from any women, being stood up constantly, being lied to, like they made a lie to stand me up as opposed to just telling me the truth. Early stages of ghosting, like I was so hurt by women that I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to use them for what they got, so maybe I could hurt them like they hurt me. So it very much was like hurt people hurt people.
This is 100% the logic of the manosphere. Pinecones, you might have heard my interview with Dr. Elliot Justin, founder of FirmTech, and if you did, you know all about how exciting the tech ring is. It's a health wearable that improves men's sexual performance and gives them priceless health data that can act as an early indicator of heart issues. Yeah. During sex, it keeps you hard and makes your orgasms crazy. And during sleep, it tracks your nocturnal erections, which can literally tell you if you have issues with your heart or hormone levels before they get really bad. This product saves lives and marriages. And I'm really excited to give you a 15% discount on any of FirmTech's products with code CLOSETED at checkout. In addition to the tech ring, they also have the performance ring, a non-tech cock ring that features a really cool hook and eye design to avoid having to shimmy the ring down the length of your cock, which, if you've tried that, it's not the sexiest. They also have the Ring Mate, a vibrating attachment that works with the tech ring and performance ring and can also be used on one's fingertips. Ooh la la. Get yours today by going to myfirmtech.com and using code CLOSETED at checkout. myfirmtech.com, code CLOSETED at checkout. You're welcome. Here.
Yeah,
Like incel culture
yeah.
operates on this exact logic. They hurt me, so fuck them. So I'm really happy to be talking to you about this, because like you've avoided going into like that kind, like you flirted with that kind of mentality when you were younger, but that was over 20 years ago, and you didn't stay there, which is great. But like when we talk about these kinds of guys that have that attitude, often in feminist circles, the conversation goes to, well, they wouldn't be so mad at women if they hadn't been taught that they're entitled to sex from women.
Mm,
Do you think that a sense of entitlement had anything to do with why you felt so hurt?
maybe a little, yeah. Considering the generation that I grew up in, like men are like, you're supposed to get this and that and this and that. So I think a little bit, a good percentage of that definitely is entitlement, 1,000%. Like they're women, I'm men. They should give me this. They give all these other guys this. They should also give me this. So that's true. But I think another part of the entitlement is like, I mean, not entitlement. Another part of the anger or the pain comes from like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't they like me? Why can't they love me? What's so wrong about me that not only this, but this goes back to growing up, like the overarching theme of my life. What is so wrong with me that they don't want to be my friends? What's so wrong with me that they want to make fun of me? What's so wrong with me that they don't call me handsome or they don't want to hang out with me? What's so wrong with me that they don't even want to remotely try and get physical with me? Like, what did I do that makes it so wrong for them to want to do that to me? So that kind of led to that whole mindset as well, too.
It was this feeling of lack within yourself that you then turned outward into anger at women.
Yeah. Yeah. I like targeted my pain and my anger outward to, I don't know why specifically women. I think it was just because I don't know, like boys, like young boys, especially young white boys, suck. They're horrible. You know, growing up, they're fucking ass. Well, just boys in general. I'm not going to label it to one race. Boys in general are fucking assholes. So I already knew that they were assholes from jump. And I thought that, I don't know, for some reason, I thought in my mind, like, women are going to be different. They're going to see me for the good person that I am. When I got to that age and we hit puberty and we're looking at each other with from different angles now, they're going to see how good of a person I am. And I think that they will find that attractive. And that wasn't the case. The asshole still won. The asshole, honestly, still to this day, still wins.
When you became an asshole, did it work? Did it get you laid?
It didn't. It didn't. And I think the reason why it didn't is because I was lying to myself who I was. I'm not an asshole. I could try until the cows come home to be the biggest dick alive. Like I could do these things. I could lie to these women. I could fucking leave. I could, all these different things. I'm very guilty of, I mean, every man, I'm not separate from this. Every man in their late teens to early 20s was on that Me Too shit. Like looking back then, you don't think it was that, but it was. Every guy can go back to when he's like, when I have sex with her, oh, fuck. Like, I have those moments too. My closet is not empty of those moments.
Well, I was just
And
reading an essay from a feminist writer this morning that cited a study that showed that 95% of male respondents to this survey admitted to using at least one coercive
yeah,
tactic to get a woman to have sex with them who did not readily consent. 95%.
yeah, yeah. I'm in that. And I think for men, it's important to just realize that, accept it, and learn from it, and do better. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I was one of those guys who did better. I saw it, I learned from it. I'm like, that's not right.
How long did it take you?
I was well in my 30s before it really like locked in that I was like, this is not how you're supposed to do this. Like this whole come here, girl, I'm a man. This is not right. Like it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. Like one day I was just like, this is not right. You're not supposed to talk to women like this. You're not supposed to do this. This is not okay. And then that led me to looking inward and realizing like, I'm not an asshole. I'm a guy who's a gentle giant. I am a peaceful guy who likes to make people happy, call it pushover, call it what you want. A guy who kind of goes through life, try to go through life carefree. And I'm the farthest thing from an asshole. And you know what? If being myself doesn't get me laid, then I guess that's going to be my punishment. So I guess I'm living in my punishment now because I'm being myself and, I'm not getting laid.
So you dropped the asshole costume.
Yeah.
You did have this like situationship for a year with a woman. When was that? Like late 20s?
I want to say it was 2018 into 2019.
So you were in your 30s by then. Okay. Or late 30s. And then you had that 3.5 month relationship. That one was in your
Mhm.
late 20s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you still seeing sex workers regularly?
Not regularly. I do still. I haven't in a while though, but I do still. Yeah. Cause again, it's just someone is there to provide me what I'm looking for, not only like fulfill the fantasies or the kinks that I have, but also just being with a woman. I'm not with a woman, you know? So it's just like, just knowing what it's like to be with a woman intimately. Like, would it be better if, I met someone and we naturally just got there? That'd be great. But that's just not the case for me?
Yet. In your relationships with sex workers, have you ever seen the same sex worker for a long period of time?
I wouldn't say really long. I'd say I go by like amount of times that I've seen them. I've seen some maybe like 4 or 5 times.
Do you want a partner at this point?
I do. I do. I do want a life partner. I mean, I have a lot of shit going on with me as far as like I'm in my mid-40s, but I don't want to have kids. I don't want to get married, and I'm an artist. While I do have jobs to, support myself and hopefully will be able to support myself better going forward, being a career artist where that pays the bills is kind of like my dream and what I moved here for. And, you know, why I work so hard at that is to do that. It's very consuming. I'm very focused, but still, I would like to be loved like that and to have a partner in crime. But again, at my age, what I'm noticing on like a lot of dating sites, like, because I don't drink or smoke. I don't drink anymore, and I've never smoked, and I don't really go to bars. It's not my scene. And again, I get panic attacks and anxiety attacks when I even think of fucking approaching a woman in person.
Actual panic attacks?
Like, I don't know if it's a panic attack, but I know I will shake and my voice will quiver if I have to approach a girl and like talk to her, a woman, and talk to her in like real life.
So your body goes into fight or flight.
Yeah, like my body does not respond well to it. Like I literally start to shake and tremble, and it just, I think part of me wants to maybe vomit. So it does not go well. So I kind of just do dating apps, but that hasn't been going well either.
I know some stone cold haughty gentlemen who have zero luck on dating apps. Like, yeah, dating apps are a wasteland. They're bad for me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. That more women need to be like you, my friend. More women need to be like you, who look at the person on the inside.
I think a lot of women are like that, but it's really hard to see the person on the inside when they don't approach you because they're too busy trying not to vomit.
It's so scary, man, because it's just like I'm going in so blind. Like, I don't know her situation. I don't know what to say. For me to have a successful date, I would literally need to be on a date with an earpiece that goes to someone in a truck in the back with the earpiece telling me what to say. So it's just like, I'm fucked either way.
Do you feel at this point in your life that you see women as full human beings?
I do. I do.
Did you think you saw women as full human beings 20 odd years ago when you were being a
No.
huge asshole? That's huge because, so I talk about patriarchy a lot and how it fucks up heterosexual romantic relationships because boys are trained to not see women as full human beings and to see them only as paths to sex and validation. And when your
Hmm.
goal with a human being is sex and validation, I mean, if she's appropriately indoctrinated with internalized misogyny, it can work for a while. The second that woman starts to feel her personhood, that relationship's out the window because nobody wants to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't see them as a fucking person. So, I mean, that's really great that in the last 20 odd years, you've done the work you needed to do to see women as full people.
Yeah.
As a person who sees women as full people and a person who loves sex and has a high sex drive, why haven't you had longer relationships with individual sex workers? Why have they all been so short?
Um, I honestly don't know. I think even with sex workers, I think my connection to them, I cut it off at a certain part. I'm not completely open and divulging as much as, I would if I was like dating someone. I think there's a part of me that just leaves it to like that business transaction part of it. And then I just cut it off from there, which is probably why I don't get as close to some as would be awesome. Because in hindsight, having a sex worker friend who I can like open up with and maybe we know each other's names and would be amazing in a time like now when I'm so,
You could have that
I could. And I might try and look for that next time I hire someone, which will probably be soon because,
because it's been a while.
it's been a while. Yeah.
In the last 5 years, how many women have you been with who weren't sex workers?
um, maybe two women.
Were those one-offs?
Yeah.
Do you remember details? Like, how did that happen?
The whole meeting to have sex, even though I viewed women as people, I still was focused on just the sex. So I still did my ways of going online and trying to get sex. So I think that carried on into like the early 2020s. And I think one of them I met that way. And she kind of realized as soon as like, it was great. We had fun, but I think I'm looking for a relationship. And so I was like, cool, not a problem. Because I think I was still kind of on that just sex tick. I had done it for so long that it was just like, I needed to reprogram myself, and the reprogramming took years to where now I'm like, I need a partner, a person who like has this, and it's not just about the sex. Sex is part of it, but it's not the most important thing.
What did you do to reprogram yourself?
I think honestly, just doing a lot of self work, realizing that I battled severe mental health issues, getting with a therapist, getting on medication, and just doing a lot of self work, facing hard truths, facing hard things, like going back to my childhood and seeing how a lot of the issues that I have today are a result of things I did or that were done when I was a kid. And just really diving into what I want in this world, and just doing a lot of me work and getting to who I really am and accepting who I really am as a person, and trying to accept the fact that who I am is okay and who I am is enough. And I think in working to accept that, I realize that more and more what I actually want. And it's not just sex. I'm working on knowing who I am, and I know what I want. And that is, and accepting that, yeah, even though, I wanted a partner, then I never got one and I was hurt and I kind of just took it out sexually. Like now it's like, I think all this time I always wanted a partner. I just kind of was so hurt that I couldn't see past the sex. I think this entire time, throughout all those girls, the hookups and the one night stands, I really think I just wanted a partner. I just want to know what it was like to be loved for who I was. I don't think I've ever truly been loved, even by family. I don't think I've ever been truly loved for who I am.
Even by family.
I think my family does, but like that's over time because I didn't reveal to them. I don't really open up to a lot of people as a result of my upbringing. I don't really open up. So I didn't open up to my family either. They felt the most awkward to talk to about it. Talk more to friends about it than my family. But as I open up to my family more, I realize that they accept me for who I am and they don't try to change me. Even that it can be hard because they have their expectations and they might go into like parent mode or sister mode. Still, they accept me. But friends, I think I've had some friends who've accepted me for who I am. I don't think there have been a lot, but I've had some friends who accepted me for who I am. I don't think I've ever fully accepted myself for who I am. Black guy. I talk like I talk. I have the really proper sounding voice. I use big words. I like heavy metal. I have a collection of metal t-shirts. I like pro wrestling. I like all these things. And that's just not been something where someone's been like, cool, okay, you're cool doing you. That's never been like a thing. Like people still to this day will say I have very white tendencies. Like you're so white because you listen to this. Because apparently as a black man, I'm supposed to listen to hip hop and dress a certain way, and do this, that, and the other. So that's still a thing. And it's just like, I've never truly just been like someone saw me walk outside with a gold chain that I wear and my Metallica t-shirt and just be like, hey, what's up, man? You're cool. Okay, cool. That still is like a thing that I don't get often. But yeah, and like I'm actually letting myself out and being seen for the first time. Letting people see who I am for the first time.
To you immediately when I met you, just for the
Okay.
record, if it's helpful.
Well, you're sweet.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. I liked you immediately. I thought, you had a lot of charisma and charm and presence. And I was so shocked to get to know you better and find out that all of this has been swirling within you your entire life. Because
Yeah.
like right off the bat, I was like, this guy's confident. This guy's got swagger and presence and he knows himself. Like that is the image that you put out. So this work you've been doing has not been in vain. Like it is,
Yeah.
it's working. It's working. I feel like you are in the midst of a beautiful transition and I can like envision the metal loving cutie pie that you're going to eventually meet. Are you interested in my dating advice for you, Alex?
I would love any and all advice that you give me because I trust you explicitly.
Okay. All right. So the number one thing that I want to pass on to you is a lesson that I learned in a consent demonstration given at a sex party by orgy organizer Ali Bravo, who was on this show a few weeks ago. In this consent demonstration, she made the point that asking before touching is like the rule, but that's like actually not enough. You want to take the burden of saying no off of the person you're asking. So this was for sex party etiquette, but I think it's a really good piece of dating advice. Instead of thinking, I'm going to go up to this girl and try to talk to her, and like my goal is to get her to be interested in me because I'm already interested in her just because of the way she looks. Instead of that, you can make an offer, leave the ball in her court, and walk away. So that's one thing. So if you're ever like seeing a cutie in the wild and you're interested and you want to see if she might be, instead of like shooting your shot and then waiting for an answer, which puts the burden of saying no on the girl. And girls hate saying no. Like, we're so bad at it. We're socialized to please.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
burden of saying no can be so much that we'll say yes and then we'll invent an excuse to get out of it later. So instead of that, you make the offer and say, if you're interested, I'll be over there. If you're interested, here's my Instagram. And then fucking walk away. And if she's interested, she'll get in touch. If she's not, you don't have to be rejected to your fucking face, and she doesn't have to lie or do the rejecting. Everybody gets out scot-free. So make the offer and walk away. Leave the ball in their court. Don't force them to say no, and don't force yourself to endure the no.
That is beautiful. I'm
That's
going
a
to
good
start
one,
doing
right?
that today.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, start doing it today and let me know how it goes. And then the other major thing that I wanted to gift to you is, and you've already done so much work on this, so I'm not saying anything about where you're at. But if you can do the opposite of what you've done for your whole life, which is putting the sex first, take the sex and put it away. Focus only on getting to know the person in front of you as a human being, sex aside. See if you actually like their personality. See if there's actually chemistry and a vibe. Don't think about, I need to charm her so she'll like me. Think about, do we have sparks? Do we like each other? Is this conversation flowing naturally? Is she interested in the things I have to say? Am I interested in the things she has to say? Fully approach it as just like, am I with a human being that I vibe with? And not, I need to get this girl interested in me so we can have sex. Literally just take the sex out of the equation. It's about, let's get to know each other. I'm curious about you. I want to know more about you. I want to see if we've got a vibe. Because a vibe is mutual. And vibes don't like come out when one person in a situation is so focused on a future goal. Because the other person can feel that. If the only goal is in the present moment, let me know more about you because you're a fascinating human being that I'm interested in and curious about, that can open up so many doors. And it's like the advice I want to give every guy who feels frustrated with dating. Approach us like human beings that you're curious about with no extra goal or motive. If you do that, I guarantee you will get laid. So that's my advice. Thank you for listening. Will you take my advice and put it to use and come back and update us on how things are going in a few months?
I will 100% take your advice. I will employ it. I will, buddy, I will go sweating and shaking, but I will employ it.
There's also some magic in, if you're trying this and you're trying this, like, let me just be curious about a person, but you're still sweating and shaking. I think there's a magic in being like, I'm sorry, I'm shaking right now because I'm nervous to talk to you because you're so pretty. I apologize. Let me just leave this with you and I'm going to take my shaky ass away. You can acknowledge the reality in the room and make a joke out of it. It's really charming when people do that.
I will probably use that exact line. I'm not lying, but I will probably use that exact method.
Because your authenticity is what people are going to love. The version of you that you put forward that's fake, that's trying to protect the real soft, sweet, tender you underneath, that's the version that's getting rejected.
Yeah, 100% right.
The actual you is like amazing. Alex, thank you so much for talking to me today. I look forward to getting updates from you in the future.
You sure will. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Love you dearly. And it's so great to hear from you.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Feeling so alive. So long till the sorry days. Yeah, bye.
I'm really excited to have Alex back in a few months to see how his new methodology is working out for him. I know you couldn't see him. This is an audio-only episode because he's anonymous. But when I say there's nothing wrong with this man and there's no reason why he couldn't have a beautiful, loving partnership in his life, I really mean it. When I talk to him, it always sounds to me like the number one thing holding him back are the beliefs he has about himself and what exists in this world for him, and not what he's actually bringing to the table. Because he's bringing a lot of good stuff to the table. And I'm really proud of him for the work he's done and the growth he's accomplished. It's what I wish for all of these sad, angry, lonely men who, instead of working on themselves, have decided to turn their rage outward onto all women. Hurt people. That is true. All of those men in the manosphere, all of those incels spouting vile shit online, they're not doing it because they feel superior. They're doing it because they know and believe in their souls that they're inferior. If any of those guys had a modicum of real self-regard and love, they wouldn't be treating women like that. You don't need to bully half of the population of the world if you feel good about yourself. I know plenty of guys who are not Adonises, who are not making huge paychecks, who are getting laid and are having loving relationships purely because they're able to approach women as people, and they actually truly in their souls see women as full people. Until we can get the vast majority of men to see women as full people, we'll continue having incels, we'll continue having the manosphere, we'll continue having these devastatingly high sexual assault and rape statistics. The world that we live in exists only because men have been taught that they can project their rage and sadness onto women and that that's okay. But it's not. And it's what causes their loneliness. So let's help them. Hopefully some of them will stumble onto this podcast or others like it. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Again, share this episode with a friend if you know somebody who could benefit from it. Your shares, your comments, your subscriptions, your reviews, all of that goes to support the show. I really appreciate every single one. So please share, please review, please comment. Email me at happyslutcast@gmail.com if you've got feedback that you'd like to send me, whether it's positive or negative, or if you have a pitch or a request for something you'd like to see me cover on the show. And if you'd like to support the show financially, that's always welcome. I am doing all of this for free and by myself right now. So if you like what I'm doing, you can become a paying subscriber to my Substack, where I write a lot of personal, juicy stuff about my personal sex and love life, as well as my thoughts on society and culture and all that jazz. SammyAmounts.substack.com. Become a paying subscriber. That money goes directly to supporting this show. You can also send me a direct financial donation on Cash App or on Venmo. Cash App, I'm Samia Mounts. On Venmo, I'm Samia-Mounts. Follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at Happy Slutcast. Follow me on Instagram at Samia.Mounts. Talk to me. I read every message. I read every email. I love you, Pine Cones, and I love your feedback. So thank you so much for getting in touch. This week, I want to shout out listener Joe, who left this comment on last week's episode. Samia, I love you so much. Total fangirl here. Thank you, Joe. I love you too. We have many similarities in our origins and history. I will email you one day. Please do. Loved this short episode. Seeing your pure joy and unmasked emotion is beautiful. I know it will give many of us hope for what is possible. God, thank you, Joe. I really appreciate you. I do not take these comments lightly. I want that email. I'm looking forward to connecting with you personally, and I'm glad that the show is doing something for you and helping you in some way. If you would like to be shouted out on the show like Joe, leave a comment, leave a review. I'm going to start doing these regularly. I want to have more of a direct connection with you listeners. I love you all. So leave your reviews and leave your comments, and maybe one day you'll hear your name on the show. Okay. That's all for now, Pine Cones. Tune in next week for another fun, flirty conversation on Happy Slut. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and go do something pleasurable this weekend. Bye, sluts.